GG, I am DJ Jones of all. Lane Nail, Chris White, Bodega the DJ on the 1 and 2s. We all did it the Roundtable Podcast, your source to knowledge. Yeah, I know, kind of, said that a little bit fast right there. But yeah, man, today is a special segment. I want to talk about philanthropy. This is something that I definitely wanted to really talk about, and just the whole concept behind philanthropy. So let's begin with the term, right? The term of philanthropy is basically the desire to promote the welfare of others. And I would say this, I mean, there are people that are very, very wealthy and they give back, right? They give back. They create, these foundations. They donate to charities. But as I really started to really do my homework about philanthropy and really started to really dissect it and really started to really question a lot of things about this concept of philanthropy, I started to really learn that this is really a way for not only for the wealthy to use this as a strategic way to know how to manipulate the system, because as you may or may not know, there's a lot of ways to actually use this to avoid paying higher taxes. And I'm going to dive into that a little bit. But, and this is not to take away, philanthropists, you want to call it, right, who give back, because there are people that give back. But, it's just kind of like the irony of this, right? Because I always say this to myself, why there's even a need to give back, knowing that we live in this open free market capitalism, that we are given the same equal opportunity to really fulfill that American dream. So what's the whole idea to even have, this whole idea of, philanthropy? So let me just go and run a quick, fast fact about poverty, because I really believe, that this concept of philanthropy is a way to really blindside the general public of not seeing things directly. So they will put, you have these philanthropists that, would do something for a good cause, and people will actually applaud that. They will say, this person actually, cares. This person is very generous. But, it's still, to me, I'm looking at it like why we are even having a philanthropist, this person, to even have this kind of, this giving back. Why are people living the way they are to begin with? That's really it. Why are people living the way they are to begin with? So let me go and look at the fast fact about global poverty. So here is a fast fact of global poverty. And currently there is 736 million people that live in extreme poverty, surviving off of less than $1.90 a day. Okay. Again, these are things that I always, as I started to really do my homework, I started to really ponder, and I started to ask myself, man, to even know that this actually, these numbers are actually real, and more than half of that, live in a certain region of the world, the sub-Saharan Africa, and, an increase of 9 million people within 2 years. So more and more people are becoming poorer, So these are things that we my thing is that I want to really, my goal really is to really spread the awareness and, trying to raise the level of consciousness, and make people think, in the Middle East and North Africa, the number of people living in extreme poverty nearly doubled in 2 years, according to the worlddivision.org, from 9.5 million to 18.6 million. Okay. Look at that. Just in 2 years. Okay. It almost doubled. 1.3 billion people in 104 developing countries, which accounts to 74% of the world's population, live in multi-dimensional poverty. Okay, according to the UN. And for those who may not know, multidimensional poverty is basically having access to poor health, lack of education, and a inadequate standard of living. Okay, so in other words, not really having your full basic necessities met. And 1.3 billion people are living in those circumstances. Then 660 million children are experiencing multidimensional poverty. Okay, and then sub-Saharan Africa has both the highest rate of children living in extreme poverty and the largest share of the world's extremely poor children, at 51%. And they're predicting by 2030, an estimate of 80% of the world's extreme poor will live in fragile contexts. So again, these numbers are not, these are statistics that are facts, and just the harsh reality right now. So like, I mean, again, like I'm just really thinking. I'm just always been questioning a lot of these things, that it's always been like, why do we even have this whole idea about philanthropy? Because it's just like, it doesn't outweigh the number. It doesn't outweigh the number to see how many people are living impoverished globally and are struggling. But yet, individuals having so much power and wealth, and, knowing how the system has been designed and how it really operates, we really have to start questioning the economic system itself of how this even happened. Okay. So I actually did a research about how many billionaires are in the world today. So according to the Forbes.com, there are about 2,095 billionaires in the world today. Okay, according to the Forbes. Okay, which combined, they have a total worth of $8 trillion. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. They have a net worth of $8 trillion. So 2,095 people, the richest people in the world, have a net worth of $8 trillion. So I actually looked up, what would it take to actually end world hunger? It would take $30 billion a year to end world hunger. Okay, 30 billion. So when you do the math, okay, the richest people in the world right now could end world hunger for the next 200 years and still have $550 million each on average. Wow. Crazy. That is crazy. My God. Listen, I'm just here to, to spread awareness and really trying to raise a level of consciousness. Because these are things that, again, you really have to really think about this and assess this. A book that I started to read as I was doing my research, great book, by the way, phenomenal book. It was written by Lindsay Magui, a professor of sociology. The book is entitled "No Such Thing as a Free Gift: The Gates Foundation and the Price of Philanthropy." And as we all know, Bill Gates, he is he's basically noticed or recognized, really, should I say, recognized as the quote unquote good billionaire. But I could tell you this with Bill Gates, though, which I knew for years already. As an educator, I can definitely say this. Bill Gates is a huge advocate for charter schools. Huge. And the reason why is because, he wants to have control of the education system. And this is why he's so big on charter schools. This man has spent millions and millions of dollars of passing laws by lobbying a lot of policymakers to really push for charter schools. And I'm going to definitely get more into that, because charter schools definitely takes away a lot of money out of public education. And this is why, I'm not really for charter schools. I really believe that charter schools are a way to really separate the haves and the have-nots. And Bill Gates, I'm saying, like, again, he's really behind it because it allows them to have more control of the education system. So let me just move forward. So Lindsay McGooey, who's the author of the book, she stated in an interview, philanthropy can and is being used deliberately to divert attention away from different forms of economic exploitation that underpin global inequality today. So again, it just goes what I said earlier, when I, said, why does there even a need to give back? Why are we in this position to begin with? Why are people living the way they are to begin with? And I really believe, as I did my homework, philanthropy, wealthy people, billionaires, they know how to play the game. They understand how the game works. In the words of Ice-T, said it in his I think when it's I forgot the name of the song, but don't hate the player, hate the game. And these billionaires will tell you straight in your face, don't hate the player, hate the game. They know how to manipulate it. They know how to play the game right. And especially when it comes to charities and foundations donating, these are things that they could easily know how to manipulate it by using it as a way to avoid paying higher taxes. And they know this. These billionaires know this. They know this very well. They know how to play the game very well. So again, I'm just here to make you think. I'm here just trying to raise your level of consciousness and to make you think. Not to make you think, really, like make you think, just to make you think, to challenge your thinking. In other words, really, and to just look at it from a different perspective. Here is a quote from Lee Camp, a political comedian, which I enjoy watching the show at RT. He definitely just said, to kind of paraphrase it, Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, either or, have the power to end world hunger for multiple years. Okay. But, I always said this. Okay. I just think it's very dangerous when you allow a individual to have so much power and wealth, to even know how much these two gentlemen right now, Gates and Bezos, are combined, their net worth right now, and to know the power they have right now, and what can they do right now. I think it becomes very dangerous, very dangerous. And we think about how we fought for so long to have a certain law in place that will require employers to have a minimum wage where they cannot pay you under whatever the wage is. I always say to myself, and I think Jesse Ventura said this one time, how about a maximum wage where there's a limit? And I think it becomes dangerous, especially how the economic system works and how much money is in circulation, where, to have one individual that hoards a lot of wealth and knowing that, this person has a tremendous amount of wealth that goes beyond their needs from generation, I think it becomes very dangerous. It becomes very dangerous. And, these are things that I always thought about, but I definitely want to go back into Bill Gates, though. Bill Gates, I don't want to leave that out. Because again, though, I'm not here to basically take away anything that he's done that's, quote unquote good. But, when you understand the whole concept behind philanthropy, you get a better understanding of why these billionaires are really, are using this as a way to really not only trying to duck and really trying to avoid of paying higher taxes, but also are using it as a way to really blindside the general population for them to really continue to increase their wealth. Because Bill Gates, as I really did my research, Bill Gates, as you already know, the guy has given a lot. But if he's giving so much money away, how come his wealth has increased? I just thought of, as I did my homework, I was just thinking about that. And Bill Gates, let me just go back. Sorry about this. Bill Gates' net worth right now stands at $108.4 billion as of today, January 13th, 2020. Sorry, I said January, June 13th, 2020. And Bill Gates' net worth 4 years ago was $75 billion. So his net worth jumped over 40% within 4 years. So that right there, it makes me want to question, if this man is giving so much money away, right? How is he becoming wealthier? So these are questions that I always raise, and I definitely want to make other people to really think about this, and like again, Bill Gates, knowing more about him, especially even today with this pandemic, as we all should know already, this man has been pushing for the vaccine. And, even for most people, there is an agenda behind this vaccine. But again, these are things that I just always question. And again, let me just go back real quick. As I stated, Bill Gates, right? When you think about Bill Gates, now, I'm not here just trying to target Bill Gates, but just, and just in general, when it comes to billionaires, though, the way they really, handle things and make things, and they do it very strategically, is they know how to control the information. Bill Gates knows, and other billionaires, that, they know how to control the information. And by doing so, a lot of them sponsor a lot of media outlets. Bill Gates has donated, over $3 million to NBC. He's donated a staggering $49 million to BBC. And here, TheGuardian.com, he donated over $9 million. And it's just no coincidence that, as I was doing my research, the book that I'm reading right now, No Such Thing as a Free Gift, The Gates Foundation and the Price of Philanthropy by Lindsay McGooey, the review didn't go too well. They did a book review of the book. And I'll read it right now. So, the review, according to TheGuardian.com, which is sponsored by Bill Gates. Bill Gates is one of the biggest donors. They review the book, and they, say that these are all strong and rarely made arguments, but they feel a bit unforgiving. The highly personalized quality of the Gates Foundation, for example, is surely designed to open doors in a celebrity-driven world as much as it is to make Bill feel and look good. The book does not give as concrete a sense as it might of the foundation as an institution. What's its headquarters feels like, how its confident staff talk. Access is not easily gained to either. When I profiled the foundation in 2010, it took months to sort out. And as an out-and-out Gates critic, Mugui may not have been willing or able, but she could have done more snooping around in Seattle. Oh my God, this is just like unbelievable. But it just shows you, when you control the information, you control the perception of the general public. So this was no surprising that, TheGuardian.com will actually not give this book a good review. But I'm reading the book right now, and my God, am I so informed about, this whole idea of philanthropy. And, especially when it comes to billionaires creating their own private foundations, because there's a mechanism how to use this, and they know how to play the game again. So I'm not going to go further, but this is basically an example of, how billionaires are able to really use this. And because again, they know how to play this game. And even other billionaires, they don't even sponsor, other media outlets. What they do, they just flat out buy it. Jeff Bezos, he owns the Washington Post. So whatever comes out the Washington Post, that's directly from Jeff Bezos. Like his, how he wants to really, put out the information. So again, though, they know how to play the game very well. So when it comes to philanthropy, you also got to understand the philanthropic structure. Again, as I already stated, when it comes to like, using this as a way to really avoid paying higher taxes, these are ways that they use, the DAF, which is donor advised funds. Okay. So the way this works is like this. They donate money, right? But they don't have to use it. It could just sit there for years and years and years and years and years. So a lot of billionaires, a lot of wealthy people have used this way to, say that they donated to a charity or a foundation, whatever it is, but that money could legally sit there until they want to use it. So this is a way for a lot of wealthy people to use it and make it seem as if they're doing something for a good cause. And again, though, these are things that when you start to really dissect this and start to understand this whole idea and how the structure is designed, it really, it strikes you and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this. It's crazy. And then a lot of these wealthy people, they start their own private foundation. Obviously, Bill Gates, the Gates Foundation, and that's money that's actually going back to them. It's going back to them. So it's like the way they play this game and how we don't really understand how this game works, but they do. We get so stuck of really glorifying these billionaires as if they care, they're really trying to do something for us, but this is all a game. It's all a game, and you gotta know how to play it. And again, like, it's just crazy when you say this, when you start to really look at these how the game is structured. And as I stated earlier, the charter school movement, Bill Gates, I'm saying, a huge advocate, and it's really about really, controlling the education system. And, at one time it was actually, the Supreme Court actually found it to be unconstitutional, but he was able with his wealth to basically find another way to pay policymakers to go around the decision and push forward that whole idea of pushing charter schools. And I want to definitely just say one quick thing. So one thing we got to understand with charter schools, as I could read in the first paragraph, charters are subject to the same rules. Aren't subject to the same rules or standards governing traditional public schools, but are embraced by Gates and other philanthropists who sees them as an investment in developing better and different ways to educate those who struggle in traditional school system, particularly children in poor urban areas. Now, I'm going to stop there. So this whole thing is that the purpose of this thing, okay, because first of all, public schools, the way public schools get funded is through property taxes primarily, which I think is unfair, though, because not all public schools are funded equally, because it all depends on the neighborhood that public schools are located in that would really determine how much money that school will receive in fundings, which I feel is unconstitutional when that's the way it works. And I think there should be a change with that, because again, to me, that's not right. I don't feel that that's fairly fair. But Bill Gates and his other philanthropist friends, the purpose again is to really separate the haves and the have-nots. And as you can see with charter schools, they're not really big with special needs students because they're about data. They're about trying to disprove that they're better than public schools. And the way they do this is they really trying to limit the programs of really try to provide for special needs students, because again, they want to have data. They want to show evidence that, we perform a lot better than public schools. So this is it's basically something that, as an educator, as I stated already, I'm not in agreement with. And again, charter schools takes a lot of money away from public schools. It's a very unfortunate, but there's an agenda behind this. It's a strong agenda. Charter schools is also a way to control teachers, where, most charter schools are not unionized. They don't have unions. You could any given day get a pink slip. We don't want you here anymore. Charter school teachers are very overwhelmed. Um, you know, and again, these are people that are not protected. Granted, you could bargain your salary. You could, make the argument that you get, you can make more money as a charter school teacher than a public school teacher, but there's no protection. Your benefits, it doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't really, it's not as the same as a public school teacher. Like these are things that, you really start to really say to yourself, man, it's really about control. It's about control of the students, control of the teachers. And again, it's very unfortunate, but that's the agenda. And these billionaires have the power. They have the power to really, influence these lawmakers to really pass these laws and really push for this idea of charter schools. Unfortunately, so I'm gonna just, stop here, what I'm saying, with the PowerPoint. But I would say this, it's just crazy, when you really start to think about more and more about philanthropy and the whole idea of philanthropy, I'm really, I always said this, it's just mind-boggling when you look at the income gap between a certain small percentage of people compared to the rest of the world's population. And it's just things that I always question. But I mean, I definitely want people to really do their own thorough homework, do your own research, and really start to really think about this. Because again, when you really start to look at the term philanthropist, there's a fallacy of this whole concept of philanthropy, and the fallacy is that philanthropy doesn't directly address social concerns. In fact, a true philanthropist, I'll argue, will focus on the root cause of social concerns. For example, like rather than donating 1 million gallons of water to a region that, has contaminated water, why don't you build an infrastructure of developing a machine that's able to purify dirty water into drinking water? You get to the root cause. You don't put a Band-Aid into the issue. You solve it. But again, though, these are things that this is why we have this ongoing need for charities and foundations and so forth. But it's really a response to an inefficient economic system at the end of the day. And this is why we have philanthropy, because we live in a very inefficient economic system, And I'm going to leave on my final thought, My final thought about philanthropy is this. Philanthropy, in all honesty, is, the harsh reality is that charity is the humanitarian mask that's hiding the face of economic exploitation. I am DJ John Tavall, the Roundtable Podcast, your source to knowledge, and I'm out.